Alright YouTube, what is going on? It is Bigfoot here today, bringing you another episode of my Transport Fever Let's Play. Let's connect up the Grand Canyon. In today's episode, episode number 30, I'm gonna start this off just a bit more of a podcast, and we're just gonna fly around the map and I guess go over the progression that's been made over the last 29 episodes. Because also there's been a break of about a month, I can't really remember what I was working on, and to just bring the viewer up to speed as well, like what was I doing, what do you want me to do, that sort of thing. Now I did look back at the last episode and I do know what I was working on, but it just hit me that if I've probably not been playing the game for a month, then chances are a lot of people haven't been watching the game for a month. So we're just going to go and talk about some ideas on the map which I think could really go ahead and help boost this map. So the first thing is goods. That is really the main thing that I'm focusing on now. In terms of passengers, there's not too much more I can honestly do. There's some towns which could benefit from being connected up to each other, and there's some towns, for example, if we fly down the canyon here, you'll get to Eagle Creek. A town like this, for example, it's not very well connected up. It's got one bus service, but it doesn't have very many bus stops on it. The town has grown up and down the valley, and as you can see, these bus stops here, they don't really cover all of the town. So that is something which needs to be worked on, and there's a few cases of towns like this in this map. Eagle Creek being one, Glenwood being another, and I think there's a few other ones all the way up this end as well. When we're going all the way up here to Miller Camp and Walnut Ranch, these towns aren't the best served. But going forward, this is where I'm going to start to bring in boats, and good boats. That's something which a lot of people have been suggesting, and I think it's a really good idea. In terms of like navigatable waters though, a lot of these towns, for example here we've got Yampa, which is actually turning into a small city, to be fair. It is really large. If we were to go ahead and look at navigatable waters, the navigatable waters aren't right up to Yampa, so it will have to be, for example, just outside of Yampa, but this will allow me to go ahead and serve the towns of the valleys. The towns in the valleys are by far just the most difficult, in all honesty. On top of the plateaus, it's really quite easy, whereas down into these valleys it is extremely difficult. So with that said on passengers, there's not too much more I can do, though I am still open to suggestions. The things that I will be doing in terms of passengers are, I will be tweaking some routes, and that will be in all different kinds of transports. Right now buses are still the main thing in the valleys, but a lot of lines, for example here, haven't been touched in an extremely long time. A lot of roads need upgrading. The amount of traffic, as you can see here, it's a lot. So these are all small things which I do want to address in future episodes, and also in live streams as well. So live streams was something which I brought up essentially in the last episode, and I wanted to start doing it on the 12th of this month, which is May. However, things just didn't work out just due to me having exams and that sort of stuff, so I decided to put it on hold, but I do want to do that in the future. So what I'll be doing is, I'm going to hopefully set up a live stream for this Friday coming, hopefully, and it's going to probably be, I'll post a time early on YouTube, so basically I'll come into your subscription box as like a, this person has set up a live stream for X dates. I'm not 100% sure it will be this Friday, but I will go ahead and try. But follow me on Twitter, honestly that's the best way to know, which the link is down in the description below, just to know really what I'm planning on doing. Live streaming will allow me to go ahead and just do a lot of this nitty gritty stuff, which really I don't feel at this stage anyway is good enough to make a video. Each video lasts for me about 50 minutes, but a lot of it is repetitiveness, and a lot of it essentially just gets cut out because I want to bring you the best parts of the video, not the, I guess, mediocre and worst parts. The live streams will land up being on YouTube though, so that's a good thing, because if you don't land up seeing the live stream live, then you do essentially just get to see the video, which in all honesty is good enough. It's just going to be, I guess, a little bit less formal as usual. It won't have the nice intro and that sort of thing, for example, but it's not going to be that drastically different. It might actually be a type of video which you actually prefer to the normal episodes. I understand that episodes of this can be extremely long, sometimes like 30 to 40 minutes, so It's something which, if I'm watching other YouTubers, for example, I'm watching Dylan City Skylines Mass Transit, which I'm going to have a series on relatively shortly, by the way, then it's something I tend to put on in the background and is not my sole focus. And if you're doing that with my videos or the live stream as well, then I totally understand that. So let's move away from the valleys here, and I want to go onto the plateaus, and I want to talk about goods. So passengers, pretty much done, or I'm not really going to be spending too much time on them anyway. I want to start to focus more on goods. So if we look here at Boulder, Boulder's a really bad example, but in a sense it's actually a good example. There is 6 different kinds of, well, jobs and shopping facilities. 6 different kinds of products which I need to supply to cities. All in all, I think on this map we have a grand total of, I think it's either 20, I think it's 24 cities all in all. So we've got a large city pool here which we need to provide stuff for. So if we're going ahead and considering 24 cities, we've got 6 different objects for those cities, then we're talking about 144 different, I guess, transportations which I need to set up into these towns, which is way too many. There is no way on earth I'm going to do that, because essentially I'm going to be repeating myself over and over again. A lot of towns have got very little resources, or some towns have maybe 1 or 2 resources, so it's really just a question of what do you want to see. If we look at Castle Rock, it just has food, but not to a very good rate, so there's still 5 different kinds of resources which need to arrive in this town. If we come over here to Thompson, I think Thompson just has the 1, which is fuel, so there's so much which I still need to do. And it's going to take me a very, very long time to do. So yeah, this one here also only has 1. If we come along here to Apache Ranch, you'll be 1. Goldtown will be 1. Most towns have 1. I don't even know if any town has 2 different resources coming into it yet. God, there's a bit of a traffic jam over here, isn't there? Jeez, I think we'll upgrade this road ASAP. But you understand my point here. What I am essentially setting out to do is ridiculously large, and I mean like ridiculously large. So I might go ahead and essentially just not, because it's going to, it's just, the question I'm honestly asking is, what do you want to see? Do you want to see all of this, me going ahead and setting up multiple different routes from multiple towns? Yes or no? Because I really need that opinion. So with that said, there's one idea which I want to talk to you about. So if we were to go ahead, and I think the best example is outside here, Castle Rock. Let's look at this image here, right? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, essentially 5 different railway lines going in and around Castle Rock here, and then we've also got a few road connections as well, so it's starting to look a bit of a mess. And if I'm to go ahead and long term have 6 different types of goods coming into Castle Rock, then it's going to get even busier and busier as time goes on. So what I'm honestly thinking is about doing a super loop, and someone suggested it in the comments, and I think it's a really, really good idea. I can't remember who actually mentioned it, but it's basically the idea of having sort of a ultra large loop which goes around the outside of the map, being like maybe 10 tracks wider or something, and then you can have goods which go, say for example from the food processing factory, it would follow the circle all the way around, come along the top here, and then it maybe stop, there'd be a train station at the top of Miller Camp, and that's how Miller Camp would get served, and really there'd just be trains going all around this outer loop. Now I do like that idea because it's going to mean that there's going to be less mess on the barren desert. Even though this map is quite empty, doing stuff like this, I feel this is just starting to get a bit messy. Multiple different railway tracks, multiple different roads, it's starting to have quite a large effect on the landscape, and it's not, I don't think anyway, the prettiest all in all, so it's something which I'm definitely considering going forward, but again, tell me your thoughts. Everything I've mentioned so far is my opinion. I want your opinion because I'm honestly just not really at all sure what I should be doing here. This has always been a, I guess, feedback driven series, and I want it to continue to stay that way. Okay, so that's pretty much all I've got to say for the time being. I've not looked at any mods recently, and I don't know if there's any new exciting mods in this game. I really want some scripting mods. That's what I want to see come just evident in this game, because vehicle mods are as great as they are. I've pretty much maxed out every vehicle category that I can. I think I've got some of the best locomotives now. Definitely got amazing wagons. Same with road vehicles as well. Like, I'm only really going to be using one sort of truck going forwards, which is the box truck if I'm correct, because it's just like the best, carrying 35 capacity. So it is really extremely large. So what I'm going to do for the rest of this episode is we are going to focus on goods in this central valley here. So this is where we sort of, I guess, wrap things up in episode number 28, and episode number 29 was focusing on foods. So what I was doing is I was bringing in construction materials from over in Fort Morgan, and they're being flown over into this freight port. Now this airport and railway station, and along with truck stop here, is going to be serving Richardson, Boulder, maybe Willow Creek, and possibly Jackson as well. It really just depends on how much stuff actually comes into this area in the future. So that is working out not the best, but it is picking up, which is good. So as we can see, 8's material on there. Then we've got a few trucks running this route as well, and they're running down to this depot here, which is providing some materials to Boulder. So I want to go ahead and do that, but I also want to do that with food going forward as well. So we're going to be creating ourselves another depot in this episode, and we're going to start to, I guess, get food on the move. Whereabouts am I going to create the food depot? Well, it's going to have to be near blue buildings, funnily enough. That kind of makes sense. I don't know where though, because the thing is, the bay is a very, very tight area. Honestly, I would like to probably have it at this side of town. I'd like to have it like bang in the middle here, but that's not going to work due to terraforming issues, unfortunately. I was about to say frame rate, which, yes, frame rate is a big issue in this game, but that's not that reason there. What about on the outside here? We could possibly get that in there. I think the railway line's causing a bit of issue though, so this is the difficulty with Boulder, and just this map in general actually is very challenging in these terms. So I think what I'm going to have to do is probably just try and put it somewhere around about here in all honesty, which is a very, very central location. And could work out great, or it could just cause more traffic, so we'll just have to wait and see. But that there is the Boulder sidings, which we're going to link up, and we're going to build this backwards today. So we're going to start off here at Boulder sidings, and then the trucks are going to go up the hill, and they're going to land up coming into this depot here. So this is going to be called the ZF. Again, if you are new to this series, then the Z stands for goods, and then the F stands for foods. Z just being adding that at the start of the route names to distinguish just normal road routes from goods road routes. Then we're going to go ahead and give this a title for Boulder, because this will be serving the Boulder area going forwards. So that's the connection over to here, which is good. So we're going to go ahead and throw a lot of trucks onto here. I'm talking like 10 trucks, and that will give me a capacity of about 350 all in all. So that's 8, 9, 10, I believe that's 10 there. And let's go ahead and stick you trucks on to the ZF Boulder. So that's the easy part done. The next part is the railway line issue. So we've got this really, really nice, I think this model is absolutely stunning. If you have a look at it, it's just an absolute beaut. We've got the Richardson Exchange here, which I guess is probably bang in the middle of the two, Boulder and Richardson, so it's not a bad name for it. And we've got a lot of movement going on here, and long term this place should be extremely, extremely busy. So this here is going to be heading off in this direction, and it's going to be connecting up to our... I don't really know how we're going to do it up that end, to be honest. So what we're going to start off by doing here is just doubling up the tracks, because that's the first thing that I need to do. And then the good thing is, again, and this is another thing I do want to talk about as well, actually, money's really not a problem anymore, so it's sort of not giving me a challenge, which is annoying. So I need to go ahead and get this railway line to connect up to over here. This is where our food processing factory is. However, there's an issue with connecting up to here, and that issue is that I don't know what way we're going to go around Castle Rock. Realistically, I would love to go around the left, but the right is definitely more easier. The left has a lot of logistical challenges, and it comes back to what I was saying earlier on here. This area is a mess. I would either have to have a bridge going over these 3 different railway tracks, or I would have to have a tunnel going under them, because there's no way I could intersect some of these bridges. It's just too difficult. At the same time, I could go ahead and give it a go, but honestly, I really think it's not worth using this left side. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to use the right side here and essentially go via this station here, which isn't that a bad thing, to be honest. How are we doing on the food front? Honestly, not very well at all. 27 out of 240. That is not great. How are we doing here in the town of Castle Rock itself? So 21%, I think that is up from 15, but honestly, it's incredibly low, and I don't know why. My guess is it's maybe the positioning of the... That's not the best. It's not near that many blue buildings. I think I've tried to incorporate both blue and orange, or yellow buildings, sorry, but it's not pretty at all, so we might have to go ahead and change that up, because that's just too low a statistic. That's like, I mean, 21%, I could be doing a lot better, I'm sure, there. Anyway, back to the building of the railway line here. So this is where it starts to become difficult. So we need to go ahead and try and get this railway line, first of all, to either come through here, which it should be able to do without too much slowing down. Again, I love this tool, and I've not really got too much use out of it, but this is the track and road speeds. Is it roads? Maybe it's not, it's maybe just railway tracks. So it does definitely give you a real insight into how profitable your trains are going to be in terms of speed, how quickly they move throughout the countryside, that sort of stuff. So what's going to happen here is it's going to run parallel for a very short amount of time, then it's going to have to, I guess, just intersect two different railway tracks, which again is not the most elegant solution. It doesn't drop too much speed though, which is good, and there's no hidden bumps in the railway track or anything like that, so it's not actually looking too bad. It does rise up quite a bit as it comes through here though, and you can sort of see a little bump there, but I think it should be okay. It's going at, what, 122 miles per hour, so it's actually not too bad as it goes through there. The section after that though, it seems to rise up way too much, so we'll go ahead and we'll cut back and we'll try and redraw this section here. So I'm wanting to try and intersect that probably about there as well, costing a expensive 139,000. In general, that's a fair amount for that section of track, but at the same time, I've got unlimited money essentially now. I'm coming up on 10 billion, and I will talk about that now. So really, this map's not got much of a challenge left for me, I guess, because I can't really do much more with it. It's difficult, but I mean, whatever I'm going to be building in the future, money's not a problem, and I have gone ahead and used that good because I enjoy that much more. But at the same time, I've gone ahead, and if we fly over here, for example, some of these bridges are so unrealistic and just so not, I shouldn't have built them. That's essentially, looking back, I shouldn't have built them. So I'm really not happy, and I might actually go ahead and close the, I think it's the Silverton to San Carlos railway line. That could definitely just be an airport route going forward, in all honesty. So I don't know how I don't know if I should do anything about that. Again, I'll let you decide. So should I leave the Silverton San Carlos routes, or should I go ahead and demolish it or redo the line? Because it's just this bridge here. How unrealistic is that? It's way too unrealistic. Okay, so with that said, let's get back over to whereabouts we were in Castle Rock. So this is proving to be a little bit more difficult than I thought, actually. It's just, again, all this issues with going ahead and crossing over multiple different railway lines and having issues with intersecting and roads and all that sort of hoo-ha. So we're fine up to here, I think. Then I think we're going to meet a terraforming issue as we cross over here, and we are, which is a little bit frustrating. You can see here that when we have gone ahead and upgraded that road section, it's created a pretty nasty bump there. So we'll go ahead and I think we'll try and, first of all, build the railway line first, because that's really the priority here, but now that's not even going to work, is it? Cut that whole bit back there, and this is where we're going to have a few difficulties. I think it'll be fine building the railway line now, but the next part will honestly be going ahead and trying to get that road back into place, because I don't think it's going to really like it. This corner here is incredibly slow as well, and I've managed to somehow muck this up. which is not great. So we'll go ahead and delete that section and that section there. Somehow I managed to not do that very well. I'm gonna have to create some crossovers up here later on anyway though, so it's not really that much of an issue. So let's jump back into roads and patch this up and see if we can do that. Not too many difficulties actually, and the railway line is still keeping up a very good speed, which is nice to see. Right, ladies and gentlemen, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and skip forward this next part, because as you can see here, I am essentially just laying more track. But as we come along here, I'm going to have to change this entrance here, because right now on the right hand side we've just got the railway line which goes into San Carlos, and on the left we've got the one which is going to go to Boulder Richardson. However, as we come in here, there's no real room for me unless I do crossovers, so I'm going to go ahead and tidy this part up and I'll show you what I come out with. So there we have it, that is me managed to go ahead and complete the line. So as you can see here, where this train is, actually it's on the new red line. It will be using the green platform going forward, but this is going to be it. So all these lines, they run sort of parallel with each other, intersecting the old line which used to go from Castle Rock to Thompson, which in the future might get used for goods actually. So again, this is sort of maybe starting to create a large circle here, if you know what I mean. This is maybe, if I do go with this idea, this could be this part of the large circle going forward anyway. So as you can see, the two lines run parallel here, then the Castle Rock, the one on the left, it goes in there, and then the Boulder one, it just sort of continues round, intersects all of this here, and I've set the signals up quite good I think, and then it just continues all the way along here, and then arrives in the town of Boulder, where the stuff will be offloaded and taken down into the town itself. So with that said, all we need to do now is actually get trains onto this line, and then we're good to go. Now, I need to go ahead and, first of all, just make connections up here to the railway depot. That's going to be the first thing which I need to do. So, a track coming off there, and a track coming off there. That's fine. Then we just want to have this one essentially just trying to near enough merge into this here, like that. Then you need to sort of try and intersect yourself. This is not going to be pretty, is it? We'll do you to about, I don't know, let's say there, and then you can merge in like that. So then that should give this line a chance to, one, run parallel, and then two, merge into there like so. So that works out nicely. That should be able to go ahead and basically get all trains onto those lines, and that should sort itself out. So we can close out of that now. I just need to make sure that first of all this train here goes onto the correct track. So you're onto the green track now, which is good, because you're a green train, so that's fine. We've not currently got any trains for the maroon line yet. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and near enough exactly copy the train which runs from here to Castle Rock, just because it's pretty ideal, though I might just have the extra one. So I believe we're using the very traditional EMD locomotive here. Very, for me anyway, it's a stereotypical American train which carries goods. Though I'm not actually going to go for that locomotive itself. I'm going to go for my favourite. It's either Russian or Bulgarian, I do apologise, but this has got the best top speeds and attractive effort with running costs per year. It's sort of the best balance out of all of them, so I'm going to go ahead and buy one of yous. Then wagon wise, we're going to go with the same wagons, the Swiss Sugar 2. Let's go ahead and select food, and we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So quite a lot there. Then we're going to go ahead and have 1, 2, we're going to start off with just the 3 trains, but I could definitely see the demand, I guess, outgrowing 3 trains very, very quickly. But we'll go ahead and stick those 3 trains on the line, and we will, I guess, just wait a few minutes and see how this gets on. So right now, if we jump into here, your production rate is quite low, but I'm going to manually upgrade it because I can see that, I hope anyway this place goes ahead and starts to produce a lot more food. That's really what I'm wanting. So we jump out here to the farms. I think 3 trains run this line right now, and as you can see, they're incredibly empty. So the demand is extremely low. Right now we're only producing what, I mean, in the 50s, so it's incredibly low, but now with this new railway line and this new whole setup, there should be a much higher demand, and that's why I'm expecting this place to grow very quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that road back just a tiny bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and build a road down there, and then I'm just going to have that intersect there like that, and we're going to go ahead and just upgrade this manually. Don't know why it was wanting that little area, but it is, and as we can see the production's already starting to increase quite a bit, which is nice to see. Limits at 800 as well, so it doesn't have to wait and be capped at that 400 for a while. So mainly food still going to Castle Rock right now. That's a train which is just left for Boulder Richardson with 0 items on it, and again it still just looks like Castle Rock is the town being served right now. If we jump all the way over here to Boulder itself, we can actually go ahead and have a look and see that what is the demand needed. So the good thing is construction materials is up to 2%, although it's still very poor, but we need 1,295 different, or the food demands that is for the town, and a population of nearly 5,000. It's going to need a lot of food for sure, and when we bring food into this place, it's going to go ahead and probably increase the population by quite a hefty bit as well, which is kind of exciting, yes, because Boulder is the capital of the map, so it's good to see it grow, but at the same time, like transportation problems, we look here, for example, this station's a little bit overcrowded. Again, I want a scripting mod which allows me to go ahead and do lane assignments at the stations. Over here, I think we have a similar issue with just trams right now, so it's not as bad. My vehicles aren't struggling too bad at all. I think it's mainly the public traffic actually, so it's just getting the right balance, and right now it's just not there, and we'll maybe go ahead and look at that again another time. So I've let the game go ahead and run for a little bit, and as we can see here, we're starting to get some output anyway for Boulder Richardson. It's not a great amount. As you can see, it's probably about a ratio of, looks like 1 to 4 between Boulder Richardson and Castle Rock, maybe just a little bit higher than that, maybe 4.5 to 1, but I think over time, as the demand starts to increase in the towns of, well, right now it's just Boulder, but we can easily go ahead and connect up another town. I don't know, I don't think any food delivery has actually been made yet, so the thing was, this place has definitely crashed. It's down at 154, but that was because I think these farms are sort of just finding their feet now. That's them at like 274, and they're steadily increasing. They're not rapidly increasing, but that's good to see. We're starting to see much better numbers, and we can see near enough. I mean, it's a half-full train, so it's much better than it was anyway at the start of the episode. What I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, though, is I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up here. And I think that there's a lot to think about anyway, so please go ahead and tell me your thoughts on everything I said at the start of the video. Should I make a super loop around the map? Should I go ahead and do lots of stuff on live streams? Do you enjoy seeing the small stuff like me editing a route by adding in an extra stop? Do you enjoy seeing that in videos? You know, please go ahead and interact and tell me, and I guess I'll just go ahead and incorporate all that feedback on board going forwards. I am just a little bit unsure about what you want to see in this series, so please go ahead and tell me down below. In the next episode, honestly, I'm probably going to continue this food trend in and around this area here, so I'm probably going to connect up a few other towns to this network, such as Jackson, Richardson, maybe up to Willow Creek as well. We'll just have to wait and see, but it's going to continue down the lines of the food production anyway. With that said though, that's it for this video, ladies and gentlemen, so please leave a like, rate and subscribe if you are new around here. That's all for this video, so my name is Bigfoot, and I'm out.